We're here in Amsterdam at the Next Web. It feels like a festival actually, and we got eToro in the house. He's gonna do a talk here. Nice to meet you,
Nice to
Yoni.
meet you. Great being in Amsterdam.
Nice. So you actually are the founder and CEO of eToro. Maybe you can explain why you actually founded this
Sure.
eToro. Yeah.
So eToro today is the largest social trading network in the world with 10 million users. And the vision behind eToro was to open the global markets for everyone to trade and invest in a simple and transparent way. So I was a trader since I was 13 and I love the markets, and I founded eToro together with my older brother, Ronen, who comes from industrial design. And he always used to look at me trading and say I have an accountant hobby. So the idea behind eToro was how do we simplify the access to the markets?
Okay, sounds good. But how did it grow? 10 million users. It's huge.
So we're a VC-backed company, so very technology-driven company. The core idea behind eToro is that people open an account, they can trade stocks, commodities, indices, currencies, and cryptocurrencies, and then everybody can actually see, follow, and automatically copy top traders from all around the world. So through introducing that technology, we enabled people to learn from each other and see what everybody's doing in the network, and then basically it became viral. So people started bringing their friends, and of course we're expanding globally. So the platform today is in 16 different languages. We're about 500 people today in eToro, and just recently also announced that we'll be launching eToro in the US later this year.
Wow. All right, so it started in Israel, and now you have offices in the world, 500 people working for you. You also gonna be to the US? You're gonna?
Yeah, so we have today offices in Europe, in the UK, in Israel, in China, in Russia, in Australia, and just recently now set up the US as well. Our biggest market is Europe, so that's sort of our home base, and now we're expanding both into Asia and into the Americas.
What's the share of the crypto volume actually on the platform? Can you say something about that?
So we've seen an immense growth, though. Just a year ago, or a bit more, like January 2017, only about 2% of our users were trading crypto. So we actually added Bitcoin into eToro in 2014 January. So we had Bitcoin on the platform for a long time. But just when we started adding both Ethereum and sort of the entire market started picking up very fast, we started seeing more and more of our users trading crypto. Today, more than 80% of the users on eToro trade also cryptocurrency.
80.
80. And we're
100,000 people.
yeah. No, 80%.
Okay,
Yeah. So, today we're one of the very few regulated financial institutions in the world who enable people to trade both stocks and cryptocurrencies in the same platform. So while I'm a huge believer in cryptocurrencies, I still think investing in crypto should be a part of your total investments, and people should actually understand how to invest in the markets, both in technology stocks and of course in cryptocurrencies.
Yeah, because in Holland and also in Europe, you got a lot of private investors, like 50 plus. I mean, the traditional private investor. What can you say to them? I mean, what can you say to them in investing in crypto? Just start with Bitcoin or Ethereum? Or?
I think so. In my personal opinion, you can actually see my portfolio on eToro. So you can go into eToro and click Yoni Assia. You'll see my portfolio. I think that the big ones, mainly Bitcoin and Ethereum, are definitely here to stay. And I would tell people that if they want to go into crypto, their first investments and a majority of their portfolio should be Bitcoin and Ethereum. We also have the top 10 cryptocurrencies on eToro. So, Neo, which is the Chinese Ethereum, or Stellar and Ripple, who are more of a payments network, and EOS, which is sort of a 3.0 version of crypto, but a bit more centralized. So each of these cryptocurrencies has their story, but I think specifically Bitcoin's brand is almost as big today, as Coca-Cola and Google. You go everywhere, you ask people what's cryptocurrencies, they say Bitcoin. You ask people how many of you heard about Bitcoin, everybody raises their hands. So it's really hard, I think, to compete with that level of brand awareness and the level of decentralization, the fact that it actually works very well as store of value. Ethereum, on the other hand, I think the fact that there have been more than 1,500 different token sales and basically companies setting up their companies virtually on Ethereum. I think that establishes Ethereum as a leader in that space, which is also a very interesting space.
All right. And what's your personal favorite if you look at the altcoins, for instance?
Well, I'm actually looking more into Neo recently. It's quite interesting. There are a lot of so we're looking quite a bit because as eToro we transact over 500,000 trades a day. There's a big question around scalability of the blockchain, which is obviously a big issue and debate around both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So we're looking at some of the new ones who supposedly fix the scalability issues. I think Neo is interesting also because it has already several dozen ICOs and token sales on top of Neo. So potentially it's sort of Asia's Ethereum. I think the governance behind Dash is quite interesting and the concept of private currency. And I've also been investing in quite a few ICOs, so like smaller ICOs, which of course is very high risk, but it's actually
Can you
quite
name one, or
so recently I've invested in so there has been a couple that are also related to eToro. So one is Kolu, which are building local currencies. And so they're building a network basically of communities that operate in a point of sale. So you can actually buy shawarma in Israel or buy a hamburger in London through a virtual currency that's pegged to the dollar. And there's sort of a local ecosystem.
what's the name?
Kolu. Kolu, C-O-L-U. There's another one which we've been also helping is called Blocks, B-L-O-X. And what that enables you is a lot of sort of traders that are more advanced and are working on a lot of different cryptocurrencies have like 15 different accounts in different exchanges, and they have some of the funds in hard wallet. So what Blocks does, it takes all of your different accounts and consolidates them into one view. So you can actually see all of your assets across all of the different exchanges, wallets, etc. So those are two interesting ones. Recently, I've also invested in DAO Stack, so which is quite interesting. I think, again, I'm a big believer in governance on top of the blockchain. I think ICOs have grown dramatically, but I think that it's just the beginning, and we see a lot of problems with ICOs. So you're sending money to someone, but you don't have any rights, right? I think decentralized autonomous organization enable sort of the rights to actually be managed on the blockchain as well. Voting, governance, what you do with the budget. I think that's a super interesting space within the crypto space, which we'll see growing probably later this year and next year.
So lightly regulated version of ICOs, or
It's not regulated in terms of government regulation. It's regulated in terms of technical regulation, right? So you send money into a bucket, but you have control over that smart contract, right? So they can't just take all the money and run. And I think that's actually quite interesting because, again, the whole concept, this whole crypto movement, what's really interesting is the global aspects of it. So a big part of our vision was to open the global markets for everyone, because people in different countries are traditionally used to only investing locally. And that sort of, through technology, the crypto space is truly a global marketplace.
I know that's the whole difference. Huh? So a few more questions. I mean, what are actually the next steps for eToro? I mean, it's already like you earn millions.
So we just announced in consensus that we'll be launching eToro Exchange, so enabling us to go through more crypto to crypto trading. Right now, there's the top 10 cryptos, which are all over $1 billion market cap, big volumes. In order to trade the smaller ones, we're actually building an exchange. We'll be launching very shortly our wallet to enable people to actually accept payments and pay with cryptocurrencies. So not only for the purpose of investments, but we also anticipate, obviously, the movement towards Bitcoin as a payment method, which is only at the beginning. And more, forward-looking, we believe that the entire financial services industry, which is obviously the industry where we're in, right? So people buy gold and Facebook stocks and Google stocks. we believe that this entire industry is actually going to move to the blockchain. So this is a more longer term project in eToro, is really how can you tokenize all of the different asset classes on top of the blockchain.
And what kind of blockchain are you thinking of? Just making your own, or?
That's still in interesting debates and discussions, which is also why we're supporting a lot of these new blockchains, is to have the experience and actually iterate with them, understand how you do the cold storage, how you do transactions with the blockchain, how you do multi-sig. So we're actually investing quite a bit in sort of R&D resources to learn about the different blockchains.
All right. Okay, and what's actually your personal motivation to be in this space? I mean, maybe you're probably a very smart person. You could be in real estate, or you can be, I don't know, in sports.
I think once, this is the biggest revolution since the internet. I think that blockchain is general, not only Bitcoin. Bitcoin maximalists will say it's only Bitcoin. I think on a wider angle, we're looking at a revolution that's as big as the invention of electricity, that's as big as the invention of computers and the internet. I love technology. I love building stuff and disrupting industries. And I think this industry specifically is going to completely disrupt and change the entire financial services industry. And this is my passion. So I've been in capital markets for my entire life now. And the ability to transform it into tech-driven versus local financial institution, I think would actually change society as a whole.
All right. So we can pay with currencies, our coffee, our beers.
Yeah.
You really believe it?
Yeah. I think we're moving into a global world. So if you go now and travel the world and talk about, different brands from the regular world, most countries won't necessarily know them, right? The biggest financial institutions in Amsterdam, you go into China and you talk to people in our office in Shanghai, they won't know who is the biggest bank in Amsterdam, but they would know about Bitcoin, they would know about Ethereum, and the same is all around the world. And I think that's really what's interesting, is the emergence of truly global asset classes.
All right. And actually, last question. You said, okay, you also work together with the Next Web to put the ticketing system into crypto. That's quite an interesting project.
So we helped the Next Web and we sponsor the hard fork. So here in the Dome, we helped them sort of set up the entire sort of track for blockchain. We've been great supporters and partners of the Next Web for a while, and we were very excited that they saw in adding sort of blockchain and crypto content into the conference as something very positive. So we sponsored it and tried to basically be as helpful as possible to educate people about this revolution.
All right. Thank you very much, Yoni, and all the best. Go to see this guy. I mean, very inspirational entrepreneur in the crypto space. One of the biggest, probably one of the biggest exchanges in this space. So all the best.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Pleasure.